In this video, I'm going to show and break down the 7-11-4 investing framework and how it's going to help you raise more capital. What's going on? My name is Matthew Baltelli. I'm the founder of CapX Media, and I've helped my clients raise over $20 million for real estate investors and private equity clients. And there's one common theme that I've noticed constantly is that investors don't wire money because of a pitch deck. They wire money because of trust. Now that's where the 7-11-4 framework comes into play. It's my go-to playbook for building your reputation and raising capital. This rule comes from Google's original trust building framework. They found out that before someone buys, they need to consume 7 hours of your content, have 11 different interactions, and find you across 4 different platforms. So let's jump into this and see more of what we got. All right, so here we have our 4 different quadrants. Let me just break this down. So first we have the 7 hours, 11 touch points, and the 4 different platforms and why this works. So let me just zoom in here for it. So before, as I said, 7 different platforms. 7 hours, right? Long form content. How are you gonna get these 7 hours? Is it gonna be through LinkedIn posts? Well, 10% of your followers are only gonna see your content. They're gonna skim it. They're gonna have a couple of seconds across 5-7 different posts, maybe a week. 10% of those will see that. It could take years for them to develop that reputation and trust. So YouTube, podcast interviews, these are going to be your go-to bread and butters. Podcast interviews are typically anywhere between 30 minutes to 60 minutes, and they're a very good way to develop trust with your audience. It's a very intimate experience, and the average podcast listener has an average annual income of $100,000. So they're very high targeted, high net worth, not high net worth, but higher educated, have a higher annual salary and have a lot more disposable income. So this is very good. Webinars, masterclasses, case studies. You can do this however you want, but again, it's going to capture the attention and it's going to build up and accrue over time. Deep dives, the same as case studies, blog posts. Nobody really goes to blogs, but they are helpful. I wouldn't necessarily recommend those, but newsletters. So newsletters are also a great way. People don't always remember the content that you produce. So if you were to have a short form video within an hour, nobody's going to really remember what you just posted. So if you have a long form podcast episode, right, that might resonate. Then you can break that podcast episode up into newsletters. That same podcast episode, you can put that into your newsletter, which people could sign up for. So you could have the newsletter, right? Then you can have short form content. And this is a great way to start getting more of that 7 hours. Zoom calls, virtual events. Basically what you want to do is you want to start accruing the 7 hours as soon as possible. And it begins to compound over time. If you put this content onto YouTube, it's going to last a lot longer. And then second from there is probably Instagram and LinkedIn, etc. Now the 11 touch points, right? How are you going to do this 11 different touch points? So you can track this through your CRM, but comments, right? Leaving thoughtful and engaging comments all the time on other people's posts. This is one great way to get noticed. Hop into their DMs and through your replies. Now, a lot of times there's a lot of AI generated comments that you could necessarily do, and those are okay. Those will put in reps, but there's really nothing behind those. So if you're leaving very thoughtful comments as you would speak, how you would articulate yourself, showing some humor, those are really going to stand out and help you be on the top of mind of somebody. As again, I said, email newsletters, we won't cover that again. Ads. So if something's working as far as a short form content or long form content, you can run ads and push that out to even more people and get even more eyeballs on that. Reels, shorts, these are kind of just to stay on top of mind. I don't necessarily recommend these as much, but they are helpful for staying on top of mind. Likes, shares. I always encourage people that are on LinkedIn, whenever they have a post within the 12 hours, just to not retweet, but repost just the same post, because the people who weren't online in the morning could be seeing that later on in the afternoon. So reposting, shares, having people mention and tag you, this is a great way to reach different people in the audience and have more of those touch points. Downloads and resources. This is just kind of like giveaways, lead gen magnets, etc. And events, invites, or you can host your own events. This is also a great way to have yourself be a thought leader within the industry. platforms, different platforms that if you're raising capital, where you're going to really stand out. LinkedIn, obviously, this is where a lot of people that do B2B are on, and a lot of investors are looking for, sponsors, capital raisers to help take and elevate their game to the next level and help them manage their wealth. YouTube, making a YouTube video here. This is a great way to help establish credibility. Everything that you see as far as the camera, the background, their delivery, the presentation, etc. This is going to be a form of developing credibility within the industry. So really posting your content on YouTube is going to go very far away. Podcasts, obviously, those are great. Having an hour-long conversation with somebody, basically picking your brain and having it reach one to many instead of just having a one-on-one sit down. Hey, let me buy you a cup of coffee, right? Those are going to be great. And another one good thing about podcasts is you can't fake them. So if you have a podcast that has 100 episodes, and somebody just can quickly Google that, right? Or if you've been on 100 different podcasts, somebody can just quickly Google that, and they can see, wow, this guy, he's a real leader within his industry, and he's somebody that we could trust. And he talked about this 5 years ago, and now he's still talking about this to this day. So he probably has some longevity within this industry. Let me reach out to him. Again, email, this is a little bit repetitive. So basically, whatever your 4 platforms are, you want to pick them. I would recommend, at least for the first 2, stick to something that you can basically put in the reps and commit to before you decide to start reaching out to all these other ones, trying to perfect them. Instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep, go an inch wide and a mile deep. And so investors, trust built here, why it works. People invest in people, right? So there's a reason why Tim Cook has 7.2 million followers on X and Apple has like 3.2. There's a reason why Elon Musk has more followers on X than Tesla, right? Because people do business with people they like, not with just boring corporations, right? You think of Ronald McDonald. You have what's his name? Ronald the McDonald. I don't know what that guy's name is, but you think of him, you think of the Golden Arches. You think of like a brand recognition, right? Or the hamburger steel guy, whatever the guy is, wears a hat and a tie. That's a way to identify with kids. So, Tony the Tiger, right? Cornflakes, right? So you have these images of something to help you identify with. It makes them more human. But just a bland corporation, you don't have that. So this is a great way to help develop this and help build that trust with your investors. And trust over pitch decks, right? You can look at pitch decks all you want to have all these blown up returns, but it's the people. It's the people behind it, the people that ultimately who you want to trust with your capital and help you elevate and take your game to the next level for investing. And media is your proof of competence. So if people aren't producing media, if they're not out there, like Grant Cardone says, best known always beats best, right? So somebody could have the best product, but if they don't have distribution, then they're never going to get seen. So somebody could be out there putting out not even amazing content, just very blasé content, but they're always staying on top of somebody's mind. You could have the best deals, but if nobody knows about you, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to raise capital. So that's why, old way is the analog way, which is shaking hands, kissing babies, going to conferences, having one-on-ones. That's definitely, needed. But there's the digital way: podcasts, newsletters, media, tweets, YouTube, etc. So this is a very good way to stand out. So this is the 7-11 investing rule framework that's going to help you raise more capital. If you are interested in learning more about this framework and possibly would like to work with us, click the link in the description and learn more. Talk soon, guys.